This is the steering column out of my 1973 Triumph Stag. I've removed the column to try and fix a problem that I have with the adjustment of the steering wheel. So the Stag is adjustable up and down and in and out. The problem with my column was that while I had adjustment up and down, I had no adjustment in and out, and it was lock solid. I could not budge the column at all. It seemed to be frozen for some reason in the position that you currently see. So we have the adjustment mechanism here, and it's locked in by this simple lever. So we have vertical adjustment of the column here, probably give or take about 50 mil, and you can adjust the column in and out via this. But to enable that to happen, this shaft has to slide inside this shaft. Now you can see where it has slid in the past, but this is the location that the column was locked in on my car. So the column was, or the steering wheel was sitting towards the seat further than what I would have liked. So decided to pull it to bits and find out why. So to do that, you have to remove this grub screw here, which locates a bearing or bush which supports the shaft, locks the shaft in that location. So I'll just stop recording for a moment and pull those apart so we can have a look. Okay, so I've removed the grub screw from here and slide the shaft towards the steering wheel, which shows the bearing and thrust washers exposed. So we're able to sort of pull those thrust washers off and that bearing or bush. I think these remain on the shaft. So that enables us to pull the inner shaft out. Now, when I tried to do this, this was locked solid. I was able to give it a bit of a smack and release it, and bingo, it popped out. Now, what I found was there are two marks here and here. They are the remains of a rubber bush, if you like, or sleeve that was supposed to be mounted in the outer shaft here and here through these locating dowels. Clearly this is disintegrated and this was just frozen inside the outer shaft. So I obtained some parts from Rimmers. These are the new rubber bushes which will fit inside the shaft here and be located. There's a hole on both sides. As you can see, there's locating dowels on the bush. One's located there, the other one's located there. I've also decided to purchase a new bush. I don't really know whether I need it or not, but anyway, it comes with a couple of thrust washers, a spring, new circlip which I needed, and a new bush. Now, to replace that bush, it mounts inside this ring, so I'm going to need to press that out and press the new one in and reassemble. Clean the shaft up so that it's nice and clean, and grease that, and finally we should have a steering column once assembled, that actually is adjustable in and out as well as up and down. Okay, well, disassembling it turned out to be a little bit more problematic than what I thought. So to remove the outer shaft, you've got to take off the 2 bolts that are located here. You've also got to take off the cable tray here. But before you can take that off, you need to remove the adjuster. Now, this was a little tricky to take off. It has I don't know if you can see it, it has 2 locating dowels, although there was only one in the adjuster, that holds the pin in place, and you can see it's got a little nick out of the shaft, there. So of course you can't withdraw the bolt which springs this apart until you remove those dowels. Anyway, remove the adjuster, take off the cable tray, and the outer shaft slides off. Interestingly enough, all this rubbish came out of the outer shaft, which is the remains of the original bearings, or rubber bushes that were in place before. So I've just got to mount these bushes in the outer shaft, grease up the shaft, and reassemble. Okay, final update on the work on the Triumph Stag steering column. As you can see, it's all back together and reassembled. Did have a couple of issues that I wanted to draw to your attention. In relocating the bush, the old bush was just a bush with a couple of thrust washers. Same setup in the new bush, however the new bush has a sort of a spring washer to take up any slack in the or any play. That was quite tricky to fit, to be able to get the circlip on. It's really tight. Anyway, achieved that. The main issue was putting this bush here, this rubber bush here, fitted fine. This one here was really difficult. You have to get the bush all the way down the shaft and compress it to be able to get these locating pins through the shaft, and you've got to keep it square. It's quite difficult. And then once it pops into these locating pins, the rubber tended to just burr a little bit on the edge from being pushed down the shaft, and when this shaft was introduced into here, it tended to foul the bush, and it was extremely difficult to get this shaft over this. In fact, what happened was that this bush became a little bit the worse for wear and tear, and I actually took it out and replaced it with this one and put this one here, and managed finally to get the shaft through both the bushes, but it was not easy. The other thing was you really need to put these 2 shafts together before mounting in the steering column, and to ensure that you can get these 2 shafts together. So yeah, a couple little problems in actually putting it all together, but all done and dusted now, and I'm looking forward to putting it back in the car and having adjustment both up and down and in and out finally.